The engagement, what was so important was the engagement with the stakeholders throughout the country. I think this was the most engaging interaction with stakeholders. And Your Excellency, I can assure you, and I wish I can play a clip, if all of you can allow, just a small clip on what wananchi were telling us. What wananchi were saying. And I can tell you the passion that the ordinary wananchi had with education, on education. The passion that our learners had, starting from ECDs all the way to primary, university, and so on. That passion is very unique. It really reflects the realization and the acceptance of the fact that moving forward as a country, driving our economy forward, really we need to have a robust education system. And by the way, even the passion that I saw with teachers everywhere, there were issues, teachers and so on, people would raise issues, but by the end of the day, you could see the passion that, yes, we are the teachers, we are important, etc., etc. So, Your Excellency, before I hand over the report, if you can just allow that we spend about 5 minutes going through, it is okay? Yeah, I've got permission now. So we don't? Okay. You know, one of the things that we have learned with education is that learning never stops. So we keep on learning as we move on. So this is a clip, and apparently it has been seen before, so we don't need to spend a lot of time on it. Let me tell you one or two things which are very unique with our report. The report, Your Excellency, also includes an implementation matrix, and it has time frames. And that to us is extremely important. And we are giving the time frames in which these need to be implemented, these recommendations. Some of them have already been implemented. I think it is very important to have an advisory committee, a Ministry of Education reform implementation, education reform implementation advisory committee. And that committee should monitor and evaluate how the recommendations are being implemented and make appropriate recommendations on the way forward. That is extremely important. That is one prayer. The other prayer, Your Excellency, has to do with when one is carrying out, especially the recommendations on amending laws, changing laws, developing other laws, and so on. I tell you, it is extremely important to be all-inclusive. And Parliament is so critical. My brother, it is so important that some of the recommendations that we are making with regard to laws, changes, modification, and so on and so forth, really, Parliament will need to play a very major role. And that one is something that we cannot ignore. It's extremely important. All countries that have developed and advanced have said education will drive our country forward. You know, one of the things, and this is just a prayer, is we need to have a way Your Excellency, we celebrate distinguished students, distinguished lecturers, distinguished teachers, and so forth. A whole day where we are celebrating and we are looking and asking ourselves, have we reached the milestones that we need as we move forward? So this is a prayer we are sharing with you so that you can reflect on it. But really, a Kenya Education Revival Day annually, where everywhere, from everywhere and so on, we are talking about education, education, education. That to me is extremely important, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, we have produced the report. And the report has a lot of recommendations, but some of them have already been implemented. And we are very delighted as a team that even some of the recommendations that we have given have already been implemented, or they are in the planning stage. Your Excellency, the team that we have here, especially those ones in the 3rd floor, 4th floor, and a few in the 5th floor of their age, they are there and they will remain available to really do what they can to ensure that the recommendations are implemented. If you don't mind, and let me just recognize, we worked as a team, but we had committees. And one of the most hard-working committee was a committee that was, I don't know, Kanya, what you people were calling it. What was the name of the committee? It was called the Research Committee, but it mutated and became the one guiding the coordination and production of the report. So we really appreciate. Your Excellency, by the way, we also appreciate a lot of entities. If we had not been inducted as a working party by the Deputy President, and I still remember the date, 12th of October last year, and the support that we continue to receive from him and the guidance, I think we wouldn't have reached where we reached. If it wasn't the support that we received from the Cabinet Secretary, and he periodically would request us and say, what support do you need? What help do you need? And so on, we would not be where we are. If it wasn't for the World Bank, the African Development Bank, and other agencies and so on, I think we need to appreciate that we have received a lot of support and a lot of commitment from our colleagues. If you don't mind, Your Excellency, I will come where you are so that I can hand over the report. And we are very delighted to deliver our report to you. Okay. I will take it easy. I will bring it. So I will get copies. Okay. Okay. I'm very passionate.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Your Excellency, sir, it is now my distinct honor and a privilege to invite His Excellency the Deputy President, who has been with us through this journey from the very beginning, to make his remarks and invite you, sir. Your Excellency the Deputy President. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, our CS for Education, Ezekiel Machogu, and our PSs, the Chairman of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, and all the people who worked around you. Good afternoon. Your Excellency, it's been a long journey. When you went around the country, before your ascendancy to the office that you hold, you had economic forums, and you listened to the people of Kenya. And wherever you went, they told you the challenges they had in implementation of the CBC. They told you of the challenges they were having in financing university education. Your Excellency, you gave an undertaking to the people of Kenya that if they gave you the mandate to assume the leadership of this country, you would initiate reforms in the educational sector. And being the Democrat you are, you decided to form the Presidential Working Party on Educational Reforms to go and listen to the people of Kenya and come up with appropriate recommendations. Your Excellency, this team has worked very hard, and we want to thank you because you have been available to receive interim reports from them and guide them. I want Your Excellency to thank this team for their commitment and sacrifice. In the beginning, they had many challenges. They went without allowances. They went without any support, but they sacrificed out of patriotism and their love for the Kenyan children. I really want to say thank you to this team. Finally, Your Excellency, for providing leadership in the educational sector and for always being available to all the stakeholders in the education sector. And for the first time, being the largest ministry in the country in terms of the budgetary requirement, there is a lot of synergy in the educational sector because of good leadership that is based on continuous consultation and engagement with all the stakeholders. So, Your Excellency, I want to assure you that this team has done a good job, and I'm sure that the recommendations you'll come up with, if they are implemented, it will sort out the many challenges that we have had in the education sector. Finally, it's always my pleasure to stay with the professors. Unajua masomo yangu iko chini kidogo. So there was a process in biology called osmosis. So when you sit with the people ambayo wamesoma sana, something you can get into you and you feel a bit scholarly. So I'm always happy to engage with these professors, and since I started engaging with them, even my language has improved, my way of thinking, and it's always my pleasure. With those very many remarks, please be standing and assist me to usher in the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Mr. President.
Asante sana, Bwana Deputy President. Let's take our seats. Thank you very much. Mr. Deputy President, Minister Machogu, the PSS President, the Chair of this great Presidential Working Party on Education, Professor Munavu, who was actually my teacher. And I am very proud of him. He taught me in Chiromo. The leadership and the membership of this Presidential Working Party, good afternoon. I welcome you back again to these grounds. We've had many meetings with you in different configurations. You've had many meetings with my Council of Economic Advisors, and today is that great day that we celebrate a job very well done. I am a very proud person today that finally we have a report that's as a country. Here than any other resource, and that is our human capital, the people of Kenya. I am very proud that today a resource that we have continuously made investments in as a nation, we continuously work on it to make it better, to sharpen it, to make it much more rewarding. And as we all know, the last election was informed by a very animated debate about we are all aware that there was a big happen to our children, whether we had done or made the right decisions. I am very forces, and they have settled all the concerns that we had in our education sector. You deserve, I wish there were other people here to clap for you. So I think myself and Rigiji and those who are not members, we are going to clap for you. Creatively, in an innovative way, you went through the motions. It was not easy. There were difficult decisions to be made along the way. You came back to check whether we were aligned, whether we were moving in the right direction. And I am very happy that today the country is no longer restive about CBC, because we have addressed all the concerns around what will happen to our children. All parents, all Kenyans are very particular, very emotive, if I may say, about their children and what happens to their children. And therefore, it was necessary for us to settle the subject of the education of our children early. And we didn't even have to wait for the full report. I think we kept on implementing the report even as, we were agreeing on the issues. And I want to thank each and every member of this great team for your contribution, for your professionalism, for the advice you brought on board, the knowledge you brought on board, and that eventually gave us the right decisions that puts us today on a pedestal to go in the right direction. This is because historically the people of Kenya have taken keen interest in education, appreciating it as the ultimate equalizer, facilitator of socio-economic mobility, driver of economic growth. the guarantor of democracy, liberty, and key to greater well-being of humanity. The endowments traditionally associated with bright prospects is down to only one factor. As I have said, our human capital, the people of Kenya, is the difference that has made Kenya what it is. And it is the very primary reason why we continuously make sure that there is, to the best ability that we can as a nation, there is adequate resources for the education of our children. And even this year's budget speaks to it. 30%, 29 point something percent of our budget this year is going to education. 628 billion shillings is going to education. And we made it deliberate because we needed to sort out many things. We needed to sort out the student debts that were destroying our universities. I am very happy that we now have a credible plan on how we are going to deal with this. As a result of the investment in the last 8 months, the highest ever in the history of Kenya. By God's grace, we have a plan to continue until we close the gap during the campaigns, that we would do this within 2 years. I am hopeful that we will be as near as 100%, as near as possible to 100% in 2 years, so that our children, when they go to school, they will find teachers to teach them. Amongst the many other things, any child behind. We're all aware that there are still many more of our children who are not in school for various reasons. Cultural reasons, some other reasons. One of the most pressing is because sometimes there is no food at home and kids cannot go to school. And that is the reason why this year I did instruct the ministry that we want to increase the number of students under our school feeding program from 1.6 million to 4 million. And I am very happy that we have provided resources to increase our students under the school feeding program so that students can go to school and find a meal. And we have seen huge difference here in Dagoretti. When we rolled out that program, the numbers of students in our school increased by 150%. It tells you there are many children who are not in school because of the challenge of food. I am very happy that counties are coming on board to work with us on the school feeding program, because in our manifesto, we agreed that any county that's going to agree to partner with us for every shilling they put in the school feeding program, we are going to match it by a shilling by national government. I want to congratulate our county governments that have agreed to partner with us to get our children who are not in school to come to school by participating in our school feeding program. Case in point is Nairobi County. I must congratulate the governor of Nairobi County for agreeing to work with us. I have been in conversation with Machogu, CS Machogu, and your peers, with the county government of Nairobi. And finally, we have a framework that has been approved by the Attorney General for us to work together to make sure that many kids, especially in our informal settlements in Nairobi, are not in school. I have also undertaken that the national government is going to provide additional resources for us to build an extra 5,000 classrooms in Nairobi County.